What's happening? Welcome to today's episode of Talking Turkey in a Tesla. I am Brent. I am your Talking Turkey. What's happening today? Here we are. Today I'm on my way into Toronto, down to Union Station to pick up one of my business associates. Coming in for some meetings this week. Exciting stuff going on. So today, we're going to talk a little bit about education. Or maybe my lack thereof, education. My son is 17, and he has been struggling with high school for the last couple years, and has it maybe in his head a little bit that that high school isn't that important for him, and that he'd like to be out of there right away and be working full-time somewhere. He has a sense of independence, I guess, rebellious independence. A lot of people are talk about, their kids these days aren't moving out, they're not leaving home, and they're lazy, and they're millennials, and unless they're spoon-fed, they're not going to do anything. My son is very different from that scenario. He's basically been working since he's been old enough to find a job, and is just very disengaged from the high school experience. I think that at a certain point, maybe halfway through, he was a bit of a person who was bullied a fair bit, which is quite ironic because he's a very strong young man, very physically tough, and highly skilled in Kung Fu. When I say highly skilled, I mean in the sense that he's won championships in different categories, trophies and whatnot, at the Pan Am Games for Kung Fu, which was about maybe 2 years ago now, and since doing that, unfortunately, his high school activities pulled him away from martial arts, and for some reason, he hasn't gone back into that yet. Maybe he will in the future. I hope he does. He's well advanced. He's halfway through the entire Kung Fu program and has 2 more levels to complete to obtain his black belt in Wing Chun Kung Fu, which is pretty awesome. So I hope he returns to that in the future. And he's been an avid Bruce Lee fan, an avid martial arts fan, and before that he was in a program doing jiu-jitsu, and so from the ages of about 7 or 8, maybe when he was at 6, 7, 8, he was in Taekwondo, and then 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, in jiu-jitsu, and then a couple 3 or 4 years in Kung Fu. So I pity the kid that actually pushes him to the point of lashing out, and one of his fears is that he will lash out and then have serious repercussions, so his wanting to avoid being in trouble has led him to, I guess, being a bit bullied himself, and just basically he's been having a really hard time with the high school experience, which is unfortunate because high school, can be a lot of fun, And that's kind of what we'd hoped for him, was that he could engage in the school and have lots of fun doing extracurricular activities and completing his tasks to obtain his credits to graduate. And he's so close. He's a handful of credits away from completing. And so we're desperately trying to incentivize him with, positive reinforcement of completing it, and trying to alleviate his fears of being around school and whatnot. So that's kind of what I've been working on. That's what I was working on this morning. Been working on for the last few weeks, trying to find a way for him to manage this high school experience. It also brings me, a bit of, hope that, it's not the end all to be all. Just graduating high school isn't necessarily a significant determination of overall success. There's plenty of entrepreneurs in this world. I am one of them, whom didn't do well in high school, but then has done very well otherwise. There's a lot of entrepreneurs talk about how we hire much smarter people than ourselves to be around us, and be careful at high school how you treat the nerdy kids or the outliers or the whomever they are. Those kids you're picking on and bullying. I know people make jokes about it and in reference to that, but the reality is that someday in the not too distant future, you're going to be applying for a job at a company that a person like my son will own, and he will remember the type of personality that took advantage of him or bullied him, and good luck getting a promotion or getting a job at his companies in the future. However, the day-to-day, the reality of today, of now, is that his responsibility is to complete this program. So there are different types of ways to go about it, and we're just trying to keep him on track to the point where he's at least able to participate in those types of programs. So I guess we'll see what happens and transpires over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully he can show himself that through positive communication and showing up and just doing a little bit of work, that he can complete these tasks and move forward onto the next stage of his hopeful career, which is not 100% certain what he wants to do yet, which is another factor. And not that he should know. At 17 years old, you should not have a clue what it is that you want to do. And I would hope that what it is you want to do when you're 17 changes 15 times before you figure it out. Because I think life is about experiences in the process itself, and the relationships that you find yourself in and that you attract yourself to in those early years are huge building blocks for success in the future. The savings grace for me is that everywhere that he goes, he is liked, he is respected, in a workplace, that is. Around adults, he communicates very well and is a great worker, hard worker. Shows up on time, never afraid to work extra. And I think when he finds himself in a position at the right type of business where there is good incentives for him to achieve monetarily, as well as fulfilling team goals and obligations, that he will be a true success and will instantly fit into wherever he goes. So currently, growing up around the restaurant business, he's been working in restaurants and is, very qualified to do so. Probably since he was 14 or 15, he has proficient knife skills, proficient use of kitchen language and etiquette and safety. He's grown up around, some true, Red Seal certified high-end chef type people, and he's grown up around, some nitty-gritty line cooks and dishwashers and prep cooks and, all kinds of different characters that he's learned from washing dishes and doing prep work, as early as, I don't know, what do the child laws say when you're allowed to work? He was there then, and was around it even before then. We would make his lunches every day together in the restaurant. So he's used to being in the kitchen of a restaurant. He's been cleaning stoves and fryers and things of that nature willingly. Can't get him to clean his room, but if you put him in front of a 6-burner Garland, he'll get that nice and spotless for you. Pretty crazy what people choose to do and what they choose not to do. So, but when you're 17 and you absolutely know everything, as we all recall being a teenager and and believing that we knew everything on the planet Earth and how everything works, it takes some time to learn some lessons and figure out some humility and things of that nature. So other than him being a kind, considerate, amazing human being, he's having some challenges with high school, and that's the way it is. So education is very important, but where you get it isn't necessarily as important. There's many different ways to learn and to become educated. He has been an avid reader, which is good. His material of choice is Bruce Lee books, and we have probably 50 Bruce Lee books and magazines that he's been reading for the last few years. And then he's also dived into some Rich Dad, Poor Dad material, learning about real estate investing, and different streams of income, business ownership, the difference between being self-employed and business ownership and being employed, and what the benefits are of the different types of scenarios. And there's definitely benefits for each one of those types of scenarios. And I've certainly been involved in every one of those quadrants, which would be a employed person, a self-employed person, a business owner, a investor, a business investor, a property investor, stocks and bonds, cryptocurrencies. Just trying to think of the different avenues of income streams that I've experienced, and within the self-employed range, there's commission-based activities, there's fee-for-service type activities, subcontract, contract, all kinds of sorts of different revenue streams that are available to us. Fortunately, very grateful to live where we live, in an environment and an economy where there's so many ways that we can develop revenue streams and get ahead in this world. We're very, very blessed. to be where we are in Canada, in Ontario, regardless of political rhetoric and this, that, the other. If you sit back and just look at what's available to you, and trust me, I've taken my lumps and I have my own personal issues and grievances with the different levels of government and the different political parties and what they represent. However, I keep those are personal things, and you know, I'm, for the most part, when I look at political type things, I'm just for whomever is supporting small business, and small business growth is what I'm all about. So whichever party is in favor of structures and incentives and programs to grow our economy through business growth is where my political agenda would lie. And then over and above that, I have a strong social ideal, and want you know, people that have less, that are unable to have more, or unable to work, whether it's for physical or mental or different issues. We need to take care of those people as well. And you know, not everybody has the same capacity for earning income or developing income streams or those types of things. So we need to acknowledge that and make sure that we have programs in place, you know, so that everybody can contribute in their own ways to our great society, and that we can develop tax policies and whatnot that can support those things, but then can also, you know, act as a business in a way, and can support the bottom line and run at a profit. I mean, a company should run at a profit, and a country should run at a profit, in my opinion. And in order to do that, I'm sure that there's all kinds of tough decisions and programs and this, that, and the other that I am not aware of, and how that all works. I took one political science class in high school, so I'm certainly no expert in that field in any way, shape, or form. However, I digress. Back to education. Some people choose post-secondary education, and they should. And it's a great place to go to learn about what you may be attracted to as far as your life's work is concerned. It also is a great social thing to do, because you can meet people and learn where you fit in the social dynamics, which is important, and develop those social skills so that you can make friends easily and that type of thing. Make connections for the future. People that you go to high school and university with are people that you may know in the future, and you can help each other to gain roles and to get feedback about how to do certain things. And so that's very, very important. However, if you're not designed for that, then don't waste your money or time going to do that. Find it another way. For example, you know, I think there's great value in traveling the world, going to different parts of the planet and seeing how people live, so you can appreciate how you live here. Whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, wherever you're going, you can still gain in those same lessons. You may learn that there's a place better on this planet, that you fit in way better than where you are now, in which case, by traveling there, you can learn that that's where you belong, and then you can go and move towards that, and away you go. You know, find what makes you happy, and then do more of that. So traveling is certainly something I'm encouraging my son to do, is to travel. Travel and work is fantastic. There's programs available that allow young people to go and work in different parts of the world. Perhaps you can go to work in Europe or the UK, which part of Europe, of course. Maybe you could go to Australia and work. Who knows? You know, maybe he can go to China and study Kung Fu, somewhere there. You know, he expressed interest at one point about going to a monastery type environment, and learning from the true source of martial arts, and that would be spectacular for him to do that. And he's certainly at an age now where maybe many kids at 17 wouldn't be ready for that type of an experience, but my son's real close to being ready to go on those types of experiences. He basically has told me that he wants to be living on his own as soon as possible. I want my own place. I want my own money and my own place, and I'm certainly not going to stand in his way from him doing that, and I'm going to give him the best support that I can to do that, short of just paying for everything, because I don't think that would be the right move in his growth to be independent. It's probably not the best concept would be to just pay for everything. So but he likes to work, so that's not an issue. We just need to help him along to find the right type of fit for himself to work in. Yeah, I think it's asking me to ride the collectors here in the next few minutes, so I'm just changing some lanes safely while I'm watching around. Traffic's moving smoothly, which is fantastic. Just great. Some people go off to university with a very specific idea in mind. They want to go to be an accountant, or a certain medical professional, or a certain trade. You go to trade school to be an electrician or a plumber or a carpenter or whatever. It's something very specific. And I think that those are really good ideas. If you're going to go for post-secondary education, pick something that has a direct jump-off point for employment, so that at the very least you have a great backup plan to join a workforce upon completion, as opposed to a general arts or something that I don't think is the best scenario would be to obtain that sort of a thing. So yeah, we've hit a little bit of traffic here. That's all right. It's one of the nice things about autopilot is the car kind of takes care of this traffic issue itself. So yeah. So from an education point of view, we would like it if our son would consider going to a trade school or something like that, if that's his choice, as opposed to something general. And then barring that, if that's not the case right this second, that's fine.
Now keep to the left.
Then we can have him not do that for the moment. There we go. I think it wants me to stay where I am, I think. Towards here, Ontario. Very good. Very good. So yeah, so other than that, I guess we just have to wait and see how things transpire for him, and be hopeful that he sees the light and the value in completing what he's doing, and can do that. If not, we're gonna have to figure out a different plan for him and help him obtain his education in a different way. So I'm just starting to look at those types of options now. Yeah. That's what's going on in today's episode of Talking Turkey in a Tesla. Is education. What do you think about it? What do you think you should do if you're a young man and you are not enjoying the high school experience for whatever reasons, and all you want to do is get the heck out of there? What do you think kids in that scenario should do? If you have any ideas, certainly throw them in the comments and let me know. Maybe somebody else out there has some guidance for us, or has a son or daughter who has gone through a similar scenario in their high school experience, and we can share some knowledge, and help each other. So I'll leave you guys with that today. It's a quick episode on what's going on in education for my son. It's a sunny day, big week ahead of us. I'm sure I'll check in again later this week and see what's going on. You guys have a pleasant and enjoyable afternoon. It's good talking to you. Brent, you're talking turkey in a Tesla.